I saw Run the Jewels like a week or two ago. Hey everyone, CW Music Reviews here. I'm CWD, and this is going to be the return, the resurrection of the segment N.E.T, Not Enough Time, where pretty much I go through a good chunk of albums that I wanted to review or I listened to but didn't really feel like reviewing, and give you my brief little opinions about each individual one. Now, this is going to stretch from December of 2016 as well as January of this year. So there's going to be quite a few to talk about. Not a whole lot, but quite a few. So on that note, let's get this show on the road. You know, for an album that deadmau5 admittedly said that he gave up on, this is actually pretty solid for IDM and EDM music. It lacks a lot of identity. It lacks a lot of staying power for me, but still, if you're looking for IDM music that is particularly progressive, well layered, then you definitely want to check this out, especially since that he seems to be more focused on the next album he seems to be working on. I'm Kid Cudi. I moaned throughout the course of 90 minutes of music. My production isn't good. It's too moany and monotonous. It has no regression. Yeah, that's pretty much what it sounded like to me. Yeah, I don't get the hype behind J.Cole. I get that he's kind of a conscious rapper. I get that he's definitely capable at rapping. The instrumentals are cool here. I do like how low-key and kind of jazzy it gets. But he kind of just sounds like a dime a dozen poor man's Kendrick Lamar on this album. Still, if you are a J. Cole fan, you'll get something out of it. You'll definitely like this a lot more than I did. It's not bad. It's okay. I just didn't really get what the point was. It's 4 tracks long. It's close to 40 minutes in length. It's actually within the 30-minute mark. But it's definitely a worthwhile listen if you like your prog metal. If you like that kind of tremolo guitar playing that comes from black metal. If you're into Krallice already, then you'll like this. This ended up on my favorites of the year list, but it didn't end up like super high, unfortunately. I didn't really feel like returning to this, honestly. It's not bad. It just lacks variety, it lacks intrigue, and it lacks a lot of what I liked about Bonobo's previous album. For him to drop an album that is this unmemorable, this particularly drab, I didn't really see much reason to continue to listen to it or even bother to reviewing it. This album is anything but. I just don't understand what kind of sound they're trying to go for. I mean, Cloud Nothing certainly demonstrate quite a bit of capability at execution in this indie rock, post-hardcore, kind of pop rockish sound. I just don't get what kind of identity they are. There's nothing here that tells me that this is a Cloud Nothing's album. It sounds like one of those indie rock bands that listen to quite a bit of Sonic Youth, quite a bit of Weezer, quite a bit of Nirvana, Alice in Chains, quite a bit of 90s and early 2000s work. It's still a solid listen. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to their set when I see them at Shaky Knees this May. If you're into indie rock sound, you'll definitely dig this a lot more than I did. Talk about a comeback. 2017 is already lit. I didn't realize R.E.M. was dropping another album. This is definitely a vast improvement from their last album, without a question in my mind. It still sounds the same. It still sounds pretty unmemorable for a good chunk of the time, but it's more solid than they were doing with their previous album. It's a much more focused and much more interesting. And if you are into that Atlanta trap sound, then you'll definitely want to check this out. A lot of what I dug about Emotional Mugger, an album that grew on me a lot since I last reviewed it, is not particularly on this album. I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely a solid release for Ty Segall to add to his consistent discography of music. It's just that he's not really doing a whole lot that's interesting with this project. He seems to be going for something more varied, something more easygoing, not as warped or psychedelic or whacked out as Emotional Mugger was. And that's fine. If he wants to make more standard music, then go right ahead. But unfortunately, this will not be a favorite of mine for the year. There wasn't much to say about this thing. It was a really short, 30-minute-ish folk album that doesn't really do much of anything. It doesn't really have a lot of identity to it. There's not really much of anything that really sticks out, unfortunately. The singing is pretty. I do like the compositions overall. They're not like stellar or anything, but they're particularly solid in their own right. But unfortunately, there's not really much to say other than that. It's a short, little, sweet folk album, and if you're into that, you'll definitely want to check that out. So those were my thoughts on releases that came out this past month and the month before that. What did you think of any of these? Did you like any of them? Did you dislike any of them? What was something that came out in December or January that I didn't get a chance to listen to that I probably should? And what did you think of those? CW Music Reviews here, signing off.